Welcome back to Healing Light Channel. Today we are going to explore a spiritual message that may resonate deeply with someone who is going through a season of Quaresma. A long time ago, in the book of Genesis, there was a powerful story about a man named Joseph and his brothers. His brothers betrayed him. They were jealous of him. They sold him into slavery and told their father he was dead. For years, Joseph lived with the pain of that betrayal. But something remarkable happened later in his life. God raised Joseph to a powerful position in Egypt, and one day, the very brothers who hurt him stood before him again, desperate, broken, and afraid. And in that moment, Joseph chose forgiveness. He looked at them and said something that echoes through time. "What you meant for evil against me, God meant for good." Genesis 50:20. Now listen closely, because the message you are hearing today is deeply connected to that same truth. Someone will ask you for forgiveness soon, and the reason is connected to something you did, something you may not even realize. Before we go deeper, take a moment right now to subscribe, like this video, and share your thoughts in the comments. And if this message speaks to your heart, type the word forgive below, because later in this video, you will understand a powerful spiritual insight that many people miss, and it may completely change the way you see a situation in your life. Right now, someone connected to your life has been quietly thinking about you. Maybe it is someone who hurt you. Maybe it is someone who misunderstood you. Maybe it is someone who walked away when you needed them the most. For a long time, that person believed their own version of the story. They justified their actions. They convinced themselves they were right. But something has started to shift, and strangely, the reason for that shift is connected to your behavior. You see, when someone hurts us, the most natural reaction is anger. It is easy to respond with revenge. It is easy to respond with bitterness. But sometimes, God places a deeper strength inside a person. The strength to stay calm. The strength to walk away without destroying the other person. The strength to choose peace over conflict. And that is exactly what you did. You may not realize it, but the way you handled the situation planted something powerful in the other person's heart. Maybe you stayed silent instead of attacking them. Maybe you walked away instead of arguing. Maybe you forgave them privately, even though they never apologized. Maybe you simply kept living your life without trying to prove them wrong. At the time, it probably felt like you lost something. It probably felt like they got away with hurting you, but what you didn't see was the quiet work happening behind the scenes. Because when someone hurts a person who responds with grace, something begins to trouble their conscience. They replay the moment in their mind. They remember your calm response. They remember that you didn't insult them. They remember that you didn't try to destroy them. And slowly, the truth starts to whisper inside their heart. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe I hurt someone who didn't deserve it. Maybe I misjudged them. This is how God works in mysterious ways. Sometimes God doesn't change people through punishment. Sometimes He changes people through the quiet power of your character. Your patience becomes the mirror that shows them their mistake. Your silence becomes the space where their conscience finally speaks. And your decision not to fight back becomes the reason they begin to reflect. Right now, somewhere, someone is thinking about what happened between you. They might not admit it publicly yet, but inside, something is shifting. They are remembering your integrity. They are remembering the way you chose dignity instead of drama. And that memory is slowly breaking down the walls they built inside their heart. Forgiveness is a powerful force. But sometimes the most powerful forgiveness is the one given before the apology arrives. You didn't wait for them to admit they were wrong. You chose to release the anger for your own peace. And that decision may soon lead to something unexpected. An apology, a message, a conversation you thought would never happen. Someone reaching out to say words you once believed you would never hear. I'm sorry. But when that moment comes, it may surprise you even more than it surprises them. Because by the time the apology arrives, your heart might already be free. You might already have moved forward. You might already have found peace without their explanation, and that is the real spiritual victory. You see, forgiveness does not mean forgetting the lesson. It means refusing to carry the weight of someone else's mistake. It means protecting your peace instead of feeding resentment. It means trusting that God sees what happened, even when others pretend nothing happened. Sometimes people take years to realize their mistakes. Sometimes it happens quickly, but truth has a strange way of finding its way back to the surface. And when it does, the people who hurt you often become the ones who feel the deepest regret. Not because you punished them, but because your dignity made them confront themselves. Your calm strength forced them to look in the mirror. And that is one of the most powerful forms of influence a person can have. If someone asks you for forgiveness soon, remember something important. Their apology is not proof that you are weak. It is proof that your spirit was stronger than the conflict. It is proof that patience carries a quiet authority. And it is proof that God sometimes works through your silence more than through your arguments. Think about Joseph again for a moment. He had every reason to seek revenge. He had the power to punish the very brothers who betrayed him. But he chose compassion instead. And that compassion healed a broken family. You may not be standing in a palace like Joseph, but the emotional strength you showed is just as powerful. You chose not to become the same kind of person who hurt you. And that decision is shaping your future in ways you cannot yet see. When someone realizes they were wrong, it is often uncomfortable for them. Pride makes it difficult to admit mistakes. Ego tries to protect their image, but the truth keeps knocking on their conscience. And eventually, that truth becomes too loud to ignore. So if someone reaches out to you soon, listen carefully. Not every apology will be perfect. Some people struggle to find the right words. Some people apologize awkwardly. Some people will speak with hesitation and guilt. But behind those imperfect words may be a genuine realization, a realization that you mattered more than they understood. And when you respond with wisdom. You do not have to reopen every door. You do not have to return to every relationship exactly the same way. Forgiveness does not mean forgetting boundaries. Forgiveness means releasing the bitterness while still protecting your peace. Your heart deserves calm. Your mind deserves freedom from old wounds. And your future deserves space to grow without the weight of the past. Right now, take a moment to reflect on the situation in your life that this message might be touching. Maybe there is someone whose name came to your mind while listening to this. Maybe there is someone whose silence has always felt unfinished. Sometimes God allows time to pass so that hearts can soften, so that pride can fade. And when the moment finally arrives, healing becomes possible. Whether that apology comes tomorrow or months from now, remember this truth. You already did something powerful. You chose dignity over destruction. You chose growth over bitterness. You chose peace over revenge. And that choice has already changed your spiritual path. So breathe deeply. Release whatever weight you have been carrying. Trust that every act of patience creates ripples in ways you cannot see yet. And remember that your quiet strength may already be transforming someone's heart. Let this affirmation settle into your spirit. I release the pain of the past. I trust that truth always finds its way to the surface. I welcome healing where it is possible. And I allow God to bring peace into every part of my life. If this message reached your heart today, share it with someone who might need to hear it. And remember this simple truth. Sometimes the apology you waited for begins with the strength you already showed. But there is something even deeper you need to understand about this moment that is approaching in your life. Sometimes, when someone prepares to ask for forgiveness, a quiet battle begins inside their heart. Their pride tells them to stay silent. Their ego tells them to move on and pretend nothing happened. But their conscience keeps reminding them of the truth, and the truth often speaks late at night when the world becomes quiet. They start remembering small details, the way you looked at them, the way you tried to explain yourself, the moment they walked away, and the moment you chose peace instead of revenge. Those memories begin to echo inside their mind, because kindness leaves a deeper mark than anger ever could. And what you did, whether you realize it or not, planted a seed of reflection, a seed of humility, a seed of realization. And seeds take time to grow. Right now, that seed may already be growing inside the heart of the person who hurt you. They may be asking themselves questions they never asked before. Why did I react that way? Why did I judge them so quickly? Why did I hurt someone who actually cared? And when those questions start appearing, something powerful begins to happen. Self-awareness. That is the moment when a person begins to wake up spiritually. And sometimes God uses you as the reason for that awakening. Not because you were perfect, but because you chose wisdom when things became emotional. You chose silence when things became chaotic. You chose patience when things became painful. If you are still listening to this message right now, pause for a moment, take a deep breath, and ask yourself something honestly. Did I respond with dignity when someone expected me to fight? If the answer is yes, then type the word peace in the comments, because that kind of strength is rare in this world. Most people react, but very few people rise above the situation, and that is exactly what you did. Now here is another truth many people don't talk about. When someone realizes they hurt a good person, guilt becomes heavier than silence. It follows them, it whispers to them, it reminds them that they left something unfinished. And this is where the spiritual lesson becomes powerful. The Bible reminds us in Luke 6:36, "Be merciful, just as your Father is merciful." Mercy does not mean weakness. Mercy means having the power to hurt someone back, but choosing not to. And when you chose mercy, you unknowingly started a transformation. You created space for truth to grow, and truth has a strange way of finding its way back to the surface. So if someone reaches out soon and asks for forgiveness, understand something important. That moment did not appear randomly. It was slowly being shaped by every calm decision you made. Every moment you refused to respond with hate. Every moment you trusted God instead of trying to control the outcome. Now imagine this moment for a second. Your phone lights up, a message appears, or maybe someone approaches you in person. Their voice sounds different, their tone is softer, their eyes show something you haven't seen before, regret. And when they say those simple words, "I'm sorry," you might feel many emotions at once: relief, surprise, closure, maybe even peace. But here is the deeper truth. The apology is not the reward, your peace is. Because even if that apology never came, you were already learning something powerful. You were learning how to protect your heart. You were learning how to walk away from negativity without losing your kindness. You were learning how to grow beyond the situation. That is spiritual maturity, and it is something God builds slowly through difficult moments. So now I want to ask you something very important. Has someone ever hurt you, but you still chose kindness? If that resonates with you, write "I choose forgiveness" in the comments, because your story may inspire someone else who is struggling with bitterness right now. You never know who is reading your words. Sometimes a simple comment becomes encouragement for someone across the world. Now let me share one final thought with you before this message ends. Forgiveness does not erase the past, but it removes the power the past has over your future. And the moment you truly release resentment, something incredible happens inside your soul. You feel lighter. You feel calmer. You feel free, because anger is a heavy burden. But grace is freedom. And when you choose grace, you align your heart with something greater than human emotions. You align it with divine wisdom. So wherever you are right now, take a slow breath. Release the weight of yesterday. Trust that what is meant to heal will heal. And trust that what is meant to return will return in the right time. Let this final affirmation settle deeply into your heart. God, I release every hurt that still lives inside me. I trust that you are working behind the scenes in ways I cannot see. I welcome peace into my heart. I welcome healing into my life. And I choose forgiveness, because my future is more important than my past. If this message spoke to your spirit today, comment "Amen" below. And remember this truth: sometimes the apology you are waiting for is already on its way. But before this message ends, there is one more truth that may speak directly to your heart. Sometimes when someone asks for forgiveness, it is not only about correcting the past. It is also about restoring something that was once valuable. Many people do not realize the value of a relationship until distance teaches them the lesson. Time has a strange way of revealing what truly mattered. Moments that once felt ordinary suddenly become memories. Words that were once ignored suddenly become meaningful, and the presence of someone who once felt familiar suddenly becomes something deeply missed. Somewhere right now, someone may be remembering the way you treated them. They may be remembering the way you listened, the way you supported them, the way you remained loyal even when things were difficult. And that memory may be awakening a realization they were not ready to face before, that they lost someone who genuinely cared. That realization can be heavy, because regret has a way of opening the eyes of the heart. And when regret becomes strong enough, silence begins to feel uncomfortable. This is often the moment when people gather the courage to finally say the words they avoided. But before that moment arrives, I want you to understand something important. Your value was never defined by how someone treated you. Your worth was never reduced by someone's misunderstanding. Sometimes people hurt good people because they are fighting battles inside themselves. Sometimes people walk away because they are confused about their own emotions. Sometimes people react out of fear, insecurity, or pride. But none of that changes who you are. You remained authentic. You remained patient. You remained kind in a moment where bitterness could have easily taken control. And that choice reflects the strength of your character. Right now, think about this carefully. How many times have you stayed silent when you could have argued? How many times did you walk away when you could have created more conflict? How many times did you choose peace even when your heart felt wounded? If that sounds like your story, write the word strength in the comments. Because what you showed was not weakness. It was emotional strength. It was spiritual maturity. And it was wisdom. The truth is, many people only recognize the depth of someone's heart after they lose access to it. Distance creates perspective. Silence creates reflection. And time reveals truth. That is why sometimes the apology arrives later than expected. Not because the moment was forgotten, but because the realization took time to grow. The Bible reminds us of a powerful truth in Ephesians 4:32. Be kind and compassionate to one another, forgiving each other, just as in Christ God forgave you. This verse carries a message that is both simple and profound. Kindness is not always easy. Compassion is not always natural when someone has hurt us. But forgiveness is the bridge that allows healing to begin. And the beautiful thing about forgiveness is that it frees two hearts at the same time. The heart of the one who apologizes and the heart of the one who releases the pain. Right now, someone may be standing at the edge of that bridge, trying to find the courage to walk across it, trying to find the courage to admit they were wrong, trying to find the courage to face you again. And if that moment comes, your response may shape the future in ways you cannot imagine. Sometimes forgiveness restores a connection. Sometimes forgiveness simply brings closure. Both are powerful. Both are healing. Both are part of spiritual growth. But the most important thing is this: your peace must remain protected. Forgiveness should never force you to reopen wounds that have already healed. Forgiveness does not mean returning to the same situation that once caused pain. It simply means choosing freedom over resentment, choosing healing over anger, choosing growth over the past. Take a moment right now and reflect on something personal. Think about the person who may one day apologize to you. What emotion appears first in your heart? Is it curiosity? Is it hesitation? Is it peace? Is it relief? Whatever emotion appears is part of your healing journey, and that journey deserves patience. Now I want to invite you to do something simple but meaningful. If you believe in the power of forgiveness, write healing in the comments. Because every time someone chooses forgiveness, the world becomes a little lighter, and someone reading your comment might find the courage to release the pain they have been holding on to. Sometimes messages like this reach people exactly when they need them. Sometimes they appear on a day when someone feels lost, confused, or emotionally tired. And sometimes they arrive as a reminder that God is still working quietly behind the scenes. Even when situations seem unresolved, even when conversations remain unfinished, God sees everything. God understands every tear, every disappointment, every silent prayer. And the amazing thing about divine timing is that it often reveals itself when we least expect it. So if an apology appears in your life soon, receive it with wisdom. Listen with calmness. Respond with clarity. And most importantly, protect the peace you worked so hard to build. Because peace is not something the world easily gives. Peace is something you cultivate within your spirit. Now, before we end this message, take one more slow breath. Let go of any lingering pain that still tries to hold your heart hostage. Release the past into God's hands. And let this final affirmation guide your spirit. God, I trust your timing in every situation of my life. I release the past and welcome healing into my heart. I choose compassion over resentment. I choose peace over bitterness, and I trust that every broken moment can become part of a greater story. If this message touched your heart today, comment "God is working" below. Because even when we cannot see it,